I'm going to bring in pollster Mark Mitchell back on the show. Mark is the senior pollster with Rasmussen Reports. Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, great to be back. Man, a lot of stuff going on just in the last week. Pretty wild.
I mean, let's just start with, Rob's called and I did a rant at 6 a.m. I'm, as you know, adamantly opposed to this HB1 visa Wall Street cheap labor scam. I know you're pretty much have been railing against this also with your polling numbers. Give us your insight here, Mark.
Well, this is personal to me, to be honest with you, because I actually worked in corporate America. I worked in the banking industry. I worked in the technology and retail industry. And literally every company is taking in visas with both hands and feet. And it's something that really ramped up during the Biden administration as well. There's a lot of interesting charts about the number of workers that were gained in the foreign-born population, but not in the domestic-born population. Almost all jobs during the Biden administration actually went to foreigners. It's really kind of sick. And I've seen what it's done internally to companies. You look at Walmart, which was my former employer, and 70% of their technology is now foreign-born, mostly Indian. So this has happened to a point where, like, we've given away the technology departments of many of our major corporates to a member of a competing currency bloc, India, which is in there with Russia and China, who we're basically fighting proxy wars against. So there's probably national security implications. And the big tech people, the tech bros, these are the worst offenders. You look at Silicon Valley, it's got the highest home prices in basically the country. Silicon Valley is 66% foreign born. 20 or 30% of the technology workforce there is Indian. This is what they've been doing. And I think what we've been seeing during the Biden administration is just increasingly this era of like corporate welfare. Because we're also talking about SNAP. Well, SNAP benefits exploded under Biden. And so you look at these big corporations that were tripping over themselves to support Joe Biden's vaccine mandate. Well, why do you think they did it? It's unbelievable. Brooke Rollins came out with a report just yesterday that they found 500,000 people were getting dual payments under SNAP. That's a very small percent of the SNAP program, but it's still 1.2 billion of fraud, about 300 million of which goes directly to Walmart. Losing that fraud is the same as if every Walmart in the entire country stopped selling like milk, like all milk products gone. So these are big dollars we're talking about. And the reason I think we're seeing like a big pivot is because Donald Trump has really sort of like gotten off track in a way that, in my opinion, I've been following the MAGA movement for a long time, has appalled the base. Like I had all this fan mail. I got 300 DMs, especially from young people who feel like they're overlooked by the administration, who are like burning their MAGA hat and deciding.
Hold that thought, Mark. Hold that thought, because of those people you talked about, I'm leading that effort on the air. Okay. As you know, hold that thought. I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right back, because you're 100% right. Outrageous. You're an El Civilian. I'm John Fredericks, and I'm your blowtorch for free speech in America. Your Godzilla of the truth. Great to have you with us. Mark Mitchell joining us back. Mark, just going to break there, but I want to get back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
About I have been on a 3-day rant on this thing. I can't believe it. My whole point here is, Trump's entire economic policy is about helping working people, helping our kids get better jobs, bringing our manufacturing back. We got $10 million in investment. We're going to build all these plants. We can't ship. Wall Street can't ship cheap labor. Can't ship our jobs overseas for cheap labor, which they've been doing forever. But now, when we finally have it done, now they can't ship the jobs out. So now they want to get the foreign workers and import the cheap labor in, so we can't get jobs again. Well, this is insane, Mark.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what happened. So Trump 1.0 was a cult of personality. That's who supported him. And it wasn't a huge cult, but Hillary Clinton was terrible. And Trump got in a government that was sort of like the politics of yesteryear, a red team and a blue team, very entrenched. Nobody expected any movement. And then he accomplished a whole bunch of stuff. And everybody's like, oh, wow, look at that. It's crazy. Trump 2.0 is a cult of existential need. These people got through the Biden administration, which in my opinion, what we're finding out now was a presidency of massive corporate welfare. like basically the Rescue Act, SNAP expansion, H1-B expansion. And Trump gets in and he ran on a much more general, like, our country's in trouble, we have to fix the invasion, without a very detailed plan and understanding of exactly what's wrong with the American economy, which is it's been hollowed out and all the jobs have been shipped overseas and we have cultural decay and we're on the brink of basically a civil war. Now, that's a hard one to fix, but when you get into office, I think Trump's an intuitive leader. I think he feeds off the people around him. He's surrounded by billionaires. And so he starts with these deals, and it's like, okay, he's jet setting around talking to the corporate bigwigs, and he's going to pick up their view of the economy, which is that this music's going to go on forever, and it's not. I'm telling you right now, the people under 50 are really mad, really, really, really mad, desperate. They don't care about conservatives anymore. They just want somebody to take action to fix America because they think their future got stolen from them. And so everybody's watching Trump, and what is he doing? He's not focusing on domestic policy. And I've been screaming about this since Epstein. Epstein was the first canary in the coal mine that he didn't understand his base. He's hermetically sealed in the White House, not feeding off of the energy that he used to do. He used to be on Twitter, reading his replies. He needs to get ratioed and booed a little bit, in my opinion. And then what happened is, like, after this shutdown, I think the shutdown could have been played a lot better. Everybody gave him like a pretty long leash there. His numbers didn't really plunge until about the third or fourth week of it. And then they look around, they're like, well, okay, he's over in the Middle East. He's building a golden wing of the White House. The right is ripping itself apart on the internet about Israel. And there's no plan to avert the snap shutdown. And so people walk into the election to find that, yeah, the Republicans got crushed because Trump brings out young, independent, and crossover Democrats. And those people were nowhere to be found in New Jersey and Democrat. They didn't want any part of this stupid Republican Party that loves to fail on conservatism, which has conserved nothing. We've all heard that, but that's the truth. And so if this party doesn't become economic populist yesterday, like, it's got 354 days to fix this, or it's going to be the iron fist of socialism in this country. And then Trump comes out and he's like, oh, we need to fix these problems. And he like parrots corporate, like, billionaire talking points. Like, he was defending the H1-B program with billionaire propaganda. Oh, like, we're never going to be able to find this one person in America. We need this super, super special, like, extra PhD from South Korea. It's like, no. That's 0.00001%. And anybody who's worked in a corporation in America knows that these corporations have been given to India. So, I think the message has gotten through. I think just in the last 24 hours, you've seen a little bit of a shift. And I know some of the polling that I've said has gotten through to them. And JD is sort of out on the point man on this. So I hope we'll see massive change. But they're focusing still on the illegals. But the thing is, illegals, if you get rid of them, yeah, sure, there's less housing pressure. It might actually increase the cost of building more houses. I will say that. And there are less people picking avocados. And okay, the price of avocados will go up. Some Zoomers will get some avocado picking jobs or whatever, right? I'm being glib, but you get my point.
Yes.
But if you get rid of one senior developer at Apple, that's like deporting 8 illegal aliens. You know what I mean? So it's like, but the Apple's got a lobby and the illegal aliens don't. So that's the problem. And the way I see what's going on the internet right now, they're not going to let this go. I mean, the internet, Twitter specifically, despises H1Bs. I think Vivek Ramaswamy probably ruined his national political career with one tweet back in December of 2024. And it's even gotten worse since then. So we'll see. But the weird thing is the public likes the H1B program. They, 60 couple percent support it because they like the idea of being able to poach from the rest of the world. But then, and most pollsters would run just that question, right? And be like, oh, look, everybody likes H1B. And then they get paid $1 million from Coca-Cola for running that, right? Or for whoever, right? Well, then the next question we ask is like, well, are corporations abusing it? And it's like 48% yes, 38% no. But then most of these people, like, don't even work in major corporations, don't really understand. But you have this class of like 50 million professionals that just know. I've seen the engineering. I worked inside Walmart. It is not good. It is not better than what Americans produce, I can guarantee you. And there's so many shills just trying to protect this. Oh, well, our schools suck. Well, okay, yeah, but like, let's acknowledge that if there was a pipeline for very high paying entry level corporate jobs, that there would probably be a lot less like queering modern theater degrees. You know what I mean? Like if corporate America needed Americans, there would be better Americans for corporate America. I guarantee you. So I love to see the chaos. I mean, it's deserved. And thankfully, I think the Trump administration is pivoting, but I don't know. It's like we almost wasted an entire year. There wasn't a lot of like the Doge. Doge was the best thing Trump ever did to get the youth vote. And the Republican Party killed Doge. And people say, oh, Doge is still there. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the energy of destroying the federal government. That's what the young people wanted. And it's gone. And you're not hearing anything about it. So these people who everybody lies about and says are conservative, they're not. They just want action. And they're going to go to Mamdani now, unless the Republicans, they got about a year to fix this. They need brutal action. They need to dismantle the economy. There probably needs to be like, I've been calling for this since the beginning of the year. There needs to be a controlled detonation of the housing market. People were talking about that. What happened to that? It's like Trump got in and sat down on the throne, and it got super comfortable really fast. But it's like, no, America can't eat. He's talking about turkey prices.
Define
buy
what
a house
you
to
mean.
put the turkey in.
Define what you mean by detonation of the housing market. Define that. Explain that.
Okay. Well, if you're familiar with the fourth turning, I think the reason it feels like there's so much change and energy now is because the end of it is here. And Israel was kind of the leading edge of this. The first very clear issue where there's a huge break between younger people and older people and fighting about it. And what the fourth turning says is there's this like political class of people of a generation that's powerful and does very well. And they control most things, but then as they age out, it gets handed over to the younger people. Well, that's the boomers, and they have very closely held values. One of them is Israel. The young people want no part of that. Not that they hate Israel, but they are, and they're rebelling about it because they want Americans to come first. And if you look at something like the housing market, generational politics very much like dictates a solution. So Trump's response, and I know he's got more of a plan, and I know Bill Pulte means well, but that 50-year mortgage thing was, that was like political suicide. Why would you do that? You like blew your foot off. It's a solution that will raise the housing price because it expands demand and not supply. It makes more credit available to people. So that will raise the prices. Raising the prices helps Bill Pulte, who owns a home builder. It helps the banks who will get more interest, and it helps boomers who have all the houses. So the best thing for people under 50 would be to crash the housing market because they could buy the houses. A lot of boomers would lose money, but they could buy the houses. And how would you crash the housing market? By getting as many high-paying immigrants out of this country as possible. And that would free up the jobs. And so the Zoomers and millennials could buy the houses. And everything would be okay. We wouldn't have to worry about moral and societal decay because these people would buy houses, they get married, they would be Americans. You know what I mean? And it's like the corporations don't want that, and the people in power don't want that. There are more octogenarians in the Senate than there are millennials. You know what I mean? It's like that wild, and that's going to change very, very rapidly on like every issue. Like these people don't really care about NATO either. We're going to be in a scenario where in 10 or 20 years, the majority of Americans are like, don't want to be part of that. And on every other issue, they're going to, it's going to be wild. And, probably what's going to happen is there's going to be a messy crisis soon because maybe the music has stopped and we just don't know it yet. But the energy level is definitely going up. Like it is definitely, people are really, really mad right now because I think they looked at Trump as like a pressure relief valve and it didn't open all the way. So we're staring down the barrel of a Democrat Congress right now with a generic ballot at Democrat +5. It's probably going to go up because of, the Democrats lose and they get energized and turn out to vote. And the Republicans win and they disappear. So the Republicans won the last election and they disappear. And now what's going to happen is going into the next midterm, everybody's going to be pissed at the Republicans because they did nothing. And they'll say, well, Trump did well, but he's not on the ballot. Democrats are going to be super energized. They're going to win. There's going to be an Epstein commission. They're probably going to try and take down Twitter. They're probably going to arrest a bunch of people. Like, I don't know. That's probably what's happening. I hate to be.
No, listen, that's why I wanted John. I've been You know, we've been friends, Mark, a long time, and we agree on just about everything. So stay with us. I got Dan Oxner coming in. If you got a couple more minutes, fascinating
Sure.
conversation because you outlined what's wrong, which I agree with all of it. Now we got to talk about how we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
And like you said, we got to fix it now. We'll be right back. Oxman coming up. Mark Mitchell, stay with us.